United Lutheran Seminary presents the Seminary Explores podcast, conversations on faith, art, people, politics, theology, life, and more, with voices from around the corner and around the globe.
Good day. Welcome to the Seminary Explorers. My name is Nelson Strobert, and today my guest is Police Chief Darius Potts, who is the police chief in Ankeny, Iowa, And I think one of the interesting things is that he is the police chief and the first African American to be police chief in Ankeny. Welcome to the Seminary Explorers.
Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm going to just start in right away and ask you, when did you begin your tenure as police chief?
I started as a police chief here in Ankeny, August of 2018. So I'm going on my fourth year here as police chief.
Oh, okay. As police chief, in these times, it's a very difficult time to be head of a law enforcement department, and with so much mistrust of the police in various areas of the country. What are your thoughts on how we might bridge the gap between the police and the communities you and they serve?
I think, and I'm coming from a unique perspective. I've been in law enforcement all my adult career. Law enforcement has been my thing since I've been an adult. And I'm also Black, African American, and I've been that all my life. It's a thing from the police side, I think, there has been a history of mistrust. There is a history between African Americans and the law enforcement in general that has not been positive. There are some good things, but most of the things have been bad. And I think what we need to do is, on the police side, we need to have an understanding of that history. I know in the academy, we didn't learn, that police officers were involved in the 1960s and, the discrimination back then and the racism and all through history, police departments have played a negative role in that. And I don't think a lot of officers understand that either. We have some young officers that's not part of the history of the police department. It's all been positive.
Right.
I think if we start teaching that kind of history, and not to say that, just be honest about that history. I think when you're honest about that, you will understand why people feel the way they feel and have the perception of police departments or police in general, law enforcement in general. So it starts with a little education, I believe.
Okay. As you look at your office and your community, what are the police community issues you and your office face?
The issues, and my department is in the metro area of Des Moines. We are probably about 90%, 91, 92% white, with very few minorities in our population. We have problems just like every other police department has, as far as burglaries, the typical crimes that every other city has. We have those problems. Okay. Our interactions with the minority community is we don't have a lot of minorities. So,
right.
But it's growing. And I think that, I'm not trying to brag on this department, but I think before even I came here, we've always had the reputation of being nice to people in general and treating people with respect. So we don't have a lot of issues between the community and the police department here. we get very few complaints. We don't write a lot of tickets, but that probably helps.
Yes,
So,
yeah, indeed.
But on the other hand, we are trying to bridge gaps. We have a community engagement team that goes out and tries to build relationships. Our mission is to build relationships with minority communities, businesses, you name it. We're trying to build that relationship, because we know it. When you build those relationships, it makes your job a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, indeed. I was reading somewhere where your area is one of the fastest, or the fourth fastest growing area in the country. And it seems to me that this type of engagement is preparing you for this large population increase.
Yeah, and one of the things we're having problems with a large increase is keeping up with it. I'm down about 7 or 8 positions, and I think it's a direct effect of what happened 2 summers ago with the George Floyd incident and the relationship between police. We have seen a decrease in our recruiting efforts. We once had 100 people show up for a test to be police officers. Now we only have like 14 or 15.
Yeah, that is a drastic decrease.
And it's and it is a problem if you I follow stuff like that because I'm a cop, but you see it everywhere in the country that it is difficult to hire quality police officers, and it's just a job that people just don't want anymore because they don't want the hassle.
Right.
They just don't. They can make easier money doing easier things, and I think that's the main thing as far as a fast-growing city keeping up with the pace of when, for example, when the city grows, what grows with it? A little bit of crime and 911 calls, and we are running from call to call to call, trying to keep up, and that's because of our numbers, and that's because of the city and how it grows. So.
Oh, indeed. Well, as you said, you're down several officers, and the recruiting is less than before. For those who are working, how do you keep the morale of your officers positive and up?
That's the magic question, my philosophy and the command staff we try to do the same philosophy. We try to make this environment at the police department I can't say stress less, as we have to reduce as much stress as we can in this building and how they do their job. We can't get rid of stress because it's a stressful job.
Right.
We have to be dedicated to the officers' mental health, the officers' physical health, and all that includes, the obvious of promoting officers, work out and do some kind of hobby outside of law enforcement. But it also involves keeping our processes simple and easy so they won't get frustrated. When they come to work, they are treated with respect and dignity. They know they have a place to come and do their job and go home. We try to promote that the department is looking out for their best interest, and we open lines of communication to try to talk to the officers as much as we can. We have one-on-ones with the officers. And one other thing that I think is very important is we've started a mandatory, we call it a mental health checkup, where the officers and actually everybody at the police department is a mandatory. They have to go to a mental health specialist and talk to them for at least an hour, maybe once a year. We have heard. Go ahead.
May I ask, how did that go over when that was put into effect?
Now, it's funny. I'm from the old school, but I do believe in therapy, and I've been to a therapist before, and I think it's very important. But I'm from the old school, and I went into this with old school thinking.
Right.
The fire department is the first one that came to me with this idea, and they initiated it. They did it at the fire department. With officers, it's hard to do. But I must remember that we have new generations of officers. And when this was proposed, it was very surprising to me how receptive people were to this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. And it surprised me because I'm paranoid. I know a lot of officers are paranoid, and you don't want to talk about your feelings with people because you think that the city might do something or the department might do something, but we set it up where you can talk to a professional, and if it doesn't involve you hurting yourself or hurting anybody, we don't really need to know anything about what you tell them.
Okay.
Of course, if you tell them something that breaks the law or something like that, obviously the officers know that will probably be disclosed, but if you're having problems at home or if you're having problems at work and you need to talk to somebody, that avenue is open. We made it mandatory because we know, and I know, that officers won't go if you just say voluntarily.
Right.
And I think making them go, I think it guarantees that they have an opening or a line of communication with somebody.
Okay. Well, it sounds like it's a team building effort as well.
Yes.
And a supportive team.
Yes.
That you're building. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We and again, I put myself in this category. I held off putting this program together because I thought officers would not like it and would not be interested in it. And we've had a couple of incidents where it just finally, especially with our detectives and working with child porn cases and just domestic violences, and just we had a couple of some homicides here that I know had an effect on the officers. And one of my captains said, "You know what? It's time. Regardless if people hate it or not or don't want to do it, it's time to introduce the program." And we did, and it's been very successful.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
May I ask, how different is your experience in Ankeny from your previous positions?
I have to laugh because I worked, I was a cop in Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix PD, for about 23 years, and my jobs, the jobs that I did were patrol and undercover. I worked undercover for about 6 to 7 years, and it was probably the best time I had ever.
Oh, really?
And yeah, probably one of the most dangerous. And to be honest with you, sir, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that now because I'm a big chicken, so I couldn't do anything I did back then. But I moved up in the ranks as far as sergeant and lieutenant, and retired as a lieutenant. But most of all, I went back and forth between drug enforcement and patrol. And then after that, I went to Arizona Department of Public Safety, which is like the state troopers,
okay.
And worked mostly administrative. There, I did HR, did some. I was a gang task force commander. Just a variety of things. I worked in the counterterrorism bureau at the counterterrorism division at the DPS. And when I got to this job, and my experience of being a cop is running back and forth from call to call to call, a lot of narcotics arrest, just busy and dangerous, shot at before, all that kind of stuff. I came here and it was a little bit different, a little bit slower.
Okay.
Yeah, officers are way nicer than I can remember. They are very, and I say that because when I was an officer, it was do what I say and just do what I say. The officers here now are very polite, very respectable, and it's just a different kind of atmosphere. So it's hard to compare what I did back then and what goes on in a big city to a growing city like Ankeny. I hear the officers say they're busy sometimes, and they do about 4 or 5 calls or 6 calls or 10 calls. And I can remember nights of doing like 15, 20 calls a night, just running back and forth. So that's the difference. It is also a difference of the reception. When I worked in Phoenix, you still had that tension between the minority neighborhoods and the police department. You don't really have that here too much.
Okay.
So it's a different atmosphere, really.
Yeah, but it seems as though your past experiences have prepared you for your role and in your local position now.
It has, and I, one thing that it has prepared me for is knowing what the officers go through and how they feel. I call myself a cop's cop because I still feel the feeling of working midnights as a cop, and being in that patrol car and having that feeling of always having to watch yourself and watch your back and all that. I still have that, and I still can relate to officers and their jobs, and I never lost that feeling. So I think I relate to cops in my position a little bit better and have a little bit better understing too.
Sure, I'm sure that helps them. That helps them tremendously.
Yes.
I need to ask, and that is, in the news, very often we hear about the defunding of police departments. And
Yes.
what is your reaction when you hear that?
It means so many things, and it's taken on so many directions. When I hear it, I think people want to try to use money that the police department gets for more social, not social, but more things that don't have to do with law enforcement, and try to find that root of the problem that most neighborhoods have. And I think a lot of them think that taking some of those funds from the police department would help, would be a great remedy for those problems. I am the defund the police as far as getting rid of the police. I think that's a bad idea, not because it's my only job I've ever had, but I just don't think that is a good way to solve the problem. Our police departments expensive? Yes. We get paid for what we do. It's a dangerous job, and it's not dangerous 24/7, but it can be. It can be. So I think that's why you need competent people, and you need to pay them well if they're going to be police officers. And we do take up a lot of funds in our budget.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to, when you take away those funds, make sure that solution is going to work. And that would be my only reservation to that is if whatever funds you take away, make sure you're not taking away from the core jobs that we have to do as officers.
Exactly.
And,
exactly. Yeah. What advice would you give to young women and men, people of color and whites, who have an interest in becoming members of law enforcement?
The first thing I would say to anybody who wants to be a police officer is this is a noble job. It's still a noble job, regardless of what you hear on the news and regardless of what you see, all the images you see. This is an opportunity. If you have in your heart that you want to help people and make areas where you go to better or where you work at better, this is the job. There is no thank you every day. There is no flowers thrown at your feet or anything like that. It is a thankless job sometimes, but if you truly want to make a difference and help people, this is the job. It is still one of the best jobs I think that a person could have, but you have to be mentally prepared for it. You have to be ready to make decisions. And I would say to my people of color that, you will be conflicted. You will see things. You will be tested. You'll be tested by your officers, and you'll be tested by your peers, and you'll be tested by, the areas that you come from and the people that are just like you. And you'll feel I call it a tightrope. You'll feel that tightrope that you have to kind of balance sometimes, and you have to you have to remember that you might want to pick sides too, and I would be so against picking sides, and I'm telling you this from experience that especially the past two summers, two summers ago,
right?
I was in that position where I was, it really hurt me to see the relationship between minority communities and the police, law enforcement, just not getting along, and just it seemed like no solution to it. But I think when you're a minority, or any officer, but
right,
especially when you're a minority, you take on that burden that you want to fix that problem.
right.
And it's hard. It is very hard because it's not an easy thing to do.
Right. In that line, what is the preparation for someone who is going into law enforcement? What type of preparation, education is in the process?
Well, the process is, and I think it's standard throughout probably everywhere. There is a physical fitness test. For us, all you have to have is a GED. You have to pass the physical fitness. You have to pass the written test, which is, I am told, is that I took the test, but it's like maybe 6th or 7th grade math and English. Then you have to go through a background, and that's where a lot of people get caught up and they don't get through that part.
Oh, really?
You go through a background investigation. You go through a polygraph. You'll be amazed how many people don't pass the polygraph test, the lie detector test. Even if you believe in it or not, it does. It does its job as far as weeding out the people that you don't think should be police officers. You go through a medical exam, and that's basically it. You get through that part, and then you go to the police academy, which is about, I want to say 7 to 8 months.
Okay.
And after that, you come back and you come back to patrol, and you start off with a FTO program, which is a field training program, and that's pretty much it. We do, like I said, GEDs. I would highly suggest to people that you don't have to have a degree in criminal justice. I didn't have a degree in criminal justice. We're going to teach you everything you need to know, even basic constitutional law and all that stuff. We're going to teach you that. So I'm not telling you to do anything else, but you don't really have to have that.
Yeah, I noticed in your bio that you have an undergraduate as well as a graduate degree, and I was wondering how that helped you in your work over the years.
The bachelor's degree and going to college and just interacting with people really kind of helped. From that standpoint, the bachelor's degree that I got was in communication, so that helped a lot too.
Right.
And then afterwards, I got my master's while I was a police officer. Actually, while I was working undercover, and that helped a lot as far as promotions, writing. Just understanding stuff a little bit better.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's as we come to a close. I can't believe that it's that time. But I want to thank you for giving your insights into what is so much in the news: the police, law enforcement, and the communities in this nation. And it seems to me that you have a sense of hope for law enforcement in this country and in your community.
I do. I think that one day we will be able to work together and we can do our job as police officers and protect and serve. Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, we've come to an end. I want to thank Police Chief Darius Potts, who is the police chief of Ankeny, Iowa, and who's spoken to us and talked with us about the role of law enforcement in his community and in this country. For the Seminary Explorers, this is Nelson Strobert. Have a good day.
You have been listening to The Seminary Explorers, a production of United Lutheran Seminary with campuses in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We invite you to visit our website at unitedlutheranseminary.edu. All opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of United Lutheran Seminary or the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America.